Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 2 Peerless Tang Men based on novel. So let's start. What are you doing, Yu Hao? Hurry up, let's go. Mo Feiyan suddenly realized that Hu Yu Hao had stopped walking, so he quickly roused him. His voice far more solemn than usual. This was the Great Star Do Forest's hybrid region. A single moment of absent-mindedness could prove fatal. Hu Yu Hao gritted his teeth and said, "You guys go ahead, Uncle Mo. I just felt a soul beast that's suitable for me nearby. I'll go take a look. Xiao Dong, Xiao Xiao, you two should stick with Uncle Mo. I'll be right back." Before anyone had a chance to speak, he darted out with the ghost shadow perplexing track and disappeared. Mo Feiyan was momentarily stunned. What just happened? Hu Yu Hao's explosive speeds also took him by surprise, as only Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao had fought in previous battles. He had no idea of Hu Yu Hao's capabilities. Nobody even knew what Hu Yu Hao's martial soul was. Hu Yu Hao's body seemed to vanish into thin air the moment he moved. Both Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao were taken aback. Hu Yu Hao had actually abandoned them. This was something they had never expected to happen. Hu Yu Hao did disappear, and his vanishing act was accomplished with imitation. He imitated a large tree the moment he jumped forward, and how could anyone see him within all that dense vegetation, Yu Hao? Wang Dong exclaimed desperately, but Hu Yu Hao was nowhere to be seen. Furthermore, he had no means to track him down, even if he wanted to. Hu Yu Hao had never behaved so irrationally before, so what was happening? Why did he detach himself from the group, just like that? The moment he vanished into the jungle, Hu Yu Hao raced forward. Channeling his imitation as best he could, appearing only as a faint contorted blur, constantly transforming with the surroundings. Has Elder Xian discovered I've left the team yet? Hu Yu Hao asked the Sky Dream Iceworm while bolting forward. The Sky Dream Iceworm answered, "I think he knows, he's also chasing you right now. Stop running, it's pointless even if you do. So you might as well be straightforward with Elder Xian. Besides, you can't handle a 10,000-year soul beasts anyways." Hu Yu Hao forced a laugh and said, "Then how should I explain things to Elder Xian?" Sky Dream said matter-of-factly, "Just bullshit him. Isn't that what you're good at?" Hu Yu Hao was exasperated. "How am I supposed to do that? Elder Xian isn't easily deceived. He's studied martial souls his entire life." Hu Yu Hao stopped in place anyways and dispelled his imitation. Elder Xian's voice could be heard in the next moment. "What are you trying to do, you little bastard? You don't feel good if you don't scare me a little, eh?" Elder Xian appeared beside him in a flash. Hu Yu Hao said, "Did you hear those two howls? I have a hunch that one of them would make me a suitable soul ring, a rare spirit-type soul beast." Elder Xian replied with annoyance, "Nonsense. Those two are 10,000-year spirit beasts, I can tell by their auras. But you're just a soul elder, not a soul king. Can you even assimilate a 10,000-year soul ring?" Thoughts spun at lightning speed inside Hu Yu Hao's head as he replied, "You know that I'm a Tang sect disciple, Elder Xian. My path is that of the Tang sect, which has a secret technique that can suppress a soul ring's power. Have you heard of it?" All he could do was fabricate a story. What else could he do? He wanted to properly obtain this golden opportunity. After searching for a suitable soul ring for many days, he had finally come across a match. Hu Yu Hao had no doubts in the Sky Dream Iceworm's keen perception. Elder Xian was slightly taken aback, and said, "The Tang sect has such a secret technique. I've never actually heard of such a thing." Hu Yu Hao continued, "The Tang sect's secret technique is only suitable for soul masters with sufficient spiritual power, but can only be used for the 5th and lower soul rings. At present, I am the only one in the Tang sect capable of using the ring sealing secret technique. It can temporarily seal a soul ring's power, so I can absorb a portion of it now, and the rest as I grow stronger. Furthermore, I have 3 soul bones now, and my body is extremely resilient, plus the ring sealing technique. I am confident in my odds as long as the soul beast has a cultivation lower than 20,000 years. A soul master's willpower is most imperative when it comes to assimilating a soul ring, and in this, I am most confident. Elder Xian, I have finally discovered a suitable soul beast. I want to give it a shot." Elder Xian deliberated for a while and said, "The Tang sect's forefather, Tang San, had soul rings that were almost breaking every natural limit all those years ago. Did he use the ring sealing technique?" It's the first I've ever heard of this. It's a shame the Tang sect no longer passes on these kind of esoteric techniques. Hui Yuhao was overcome with exhilaration when he heard Elder Xian's words. He never expected that his fabricated story had precedence, so he nodded his head continuously. Elder Xian frowned and said, "But why did you choose to leave Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao behind? I can't be in two places at the same time, so how am I supposed to protect them?" Hui Yuhao scratched his head and said, "I didn't think into it that much. I felt the spiritual fluctuations and Uncle Mo was impatient, so I bolted out as fast as I could. I didn't think that Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao were in much danger within that group. Why don't you go fetch them, while I wait here?" There were some obvious flaws in Hui Yuhao's explanation. But Elder Xian was generous to overlook them on account of Hui Yuhao's age. It was only natural that a not even 13 years old child would be a bit impulsive. Elder Xian said, "I guess that's the only way. I won't let anything slip. I'll go fetch those two fellas, you can wait here. Use your imitation to hide yourself, even I was almost fooled just now. Luckily, you can't hide your spiritual fluctuations with imitation yet." With that, Elder Xian disappeared into the sky with a flash. Hui Yuhao could feel cold sweat breaking out on his back. Concocting stories really wasn't something he should be doing. Even though his lies were completely harmless, he still found the task more difficult than an epic battle. A ear-splitting roar suddenly pierced the silence. There was a terrifying and unstoppable shockwave that followed this fearsome roar. Hui Yuhao witnessed as large patches of trees collapsed in its wake, much like a wheat harvest. At the same time, an extremely imposing and majestic figure leapt forward. The ground trembled and shook when it landed, and Hui Yuhao even felt a large amount of dizziness, falling to the ground after losing his balance. The gigantic figure was coming toward him. Hui Yuhao could finally make out its appearance. It was a giant, black and white fur growing from its body. There were two heads on its shoulders, each with only one eye, and its colossal figure was more than 10 meters tall. Its eyes glowing with an intimidating luster. Black and white lights were being continuously released, causing the many shockwaves. The purpose of the shockwaves was to clear a path ahead for it, so it could run unobstructed. But even with its imposing mannerisms, it seemed to be running from something. Could this be the exceedingly rare Cyclops variant, the twin Cyclops? Hui Yuhao knew something about this twin Cyclops from Elder Xian, but he had yet to learn of it in his outer courtyard studies. Cyclops were a very special species of soul beast. Their physical appearance was no different than normal humans, excluding its one eye. They even used tree branches and vines to craft clothing and cover their lower bodies. The only catch was that Cyclops were far larger than humans. They were born 2 meters tall, and they would grow to about 5 meters when they reached 100 years of cultivation. Which was when they are considered a grown Cyclops, and from there its growth would slow down. They would grow to about 8 meters at 1,000 years, and about 15 meters upon 10,000. But they were far too conspicuous due to their massive size, and would make easy prey for powerful soul beasts. Hence why 10,000-year Cyclops were almost non-existent. Their brains were nutritious to some soul beasts with top-tier bloodlines. This Cyclops before him was only about 10 meters tall, but Hui Yuhao was absolutely sure it had more than 10,000 years of cultivation. The 10,000-year point marked an enormous milestone for soul beasts' cultivations. Their power would rise exponentially upon crossing the threshold, and occasionally soul beasts would even evolve after breaking through 10,000 years. This was evident in scarlet fire monkeys, which evolve into blaze fire monkeys. However, this was assured for their species. The Cyclopes' evolution wasn't assured, only a possibility. Moreover, there were different types of mutations, with the most powerful, the twin Cyclops, right before Hui Yuhao's eyes. A Cyclops' original element was chaos, an uncommon type, which could fundamentally change at any time. Upon becoming a twin Cyclops it would change, while sometimes its body size would also decrease as it birthed another head. This twin Cyclops had both light and darkness elements, making it an incredibly rare existence. It was so powerful it could be ranked among top-tier soul beasts. But what was this mighty twin Cyclops running from? Hui Yuhao was proud of his knowledge of soul beasts in identifying the twin Cyclops. He even began wondering what could cause a twin Cyclops to flee in terror. But his wonder swiftly turned into terror, as he realized the twin Cyclops was only 100 meters away, and Elder Xian still had not returned with Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao. What kind of luck is this? Hui Yuhao was about to cry, as right now, he couldn't make an escape even if he wanted to. A single step from the twin cyclops brought it forwards 50 meters, meaning it would reach Huiyuhao in just 2 steps. Not only that, but the shockwaves being generated were far more frightening. Even if he didn't die from them, he would definitely lose a layer of skin. Nothing in his arsenal of soul tools, or Tang Sec techniques, would help him avoid the twin cyclops. In the end, Huiyuhao was saved by his quick reaction to the danger, brought about by his rich experiences. The blood-red soul ring with 4 golden streaks rose, and the Ice Empress' fierce aura was exuded, azure green radiance shooting into the sky. Huiyuhao fully unleashed the aura of the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion using imitation. The 400,000-year soul beast's frightening aura made even his own aura become dormant. Simultaneously covering his entire body in the diamond ice armor, from the Ice Empress armor soul skill. He was prepared for battle, in hopes that if he could stall for a short while, Elder Xian would arrive to save him. Huiyuhao's imitation could easily replicate the aura of the Ice Empress, since the Ice Empress was his second martial soul, and its origin was contained in his body. This aura would prove extremely effective against 100 or 1,000-year soul beasts, making them flee in terror. However, his imitation was not entirely flawless. Because his cultivation was so far off from the likes of the Ice Empress, he could not truly claim to possess its dominant aura, only a cheap imitation aura. If the Ice Empress' original body was here in the flesh, its aura would be enough to make any twin cyclops below 10,000 years submit without a second thought. It was now that the figure chasing after the twin cyclops made its entrance. It appeared as a beam of flowing golden light, and seemed like a small sun dashing through the forest. Huiyuhao only detected a flash of light with spiritual detection, before an animal appeared where was a moment ago, sniffing the air strongly. This was a soul beast that Huiyuhao had never seen or heard of before. It was 3 meters in length, and around 8 feet in width. It was coated in a layer of bright golden fur. The blazefire monkey's fur that Huiyuhao had seen earlier was already very beautiful, but was still inferior to this soul beast. This soul beast had golden fur, and its body seemed semi-transparent. It gave off a very special feel. Its body was shaped like a lion, but its claws were that of a dragon. There were even golden flames coming off its dragon claws. Its mouth was longer than that of usual lion-type soul beasts, and there seemed to be golden scales beneath the fur. On top of that, it had a third eye apart from the normal 2 eyes, which appeared much like Huiyuhao's eye of life, vertical. Both its normal eyes flashed gold, while the vertical eye emitted a red light. The red seemed slightly freakish. It stopped for a while, then it started facing in the direction the twin cyclops ran in. Its figure flashed, and it became a golden beam of light, in hot pursuit. Skydream, is this that soul beast suitable for Huiyuhao? Just tell us when you want all of us to die next time. The Ice Empress' cold voice bore a colder fury on the brink of eruption, within Huiyuhao's spiritual sea. I only that it was suitable to Yuhao's spiritual undulations from its aura and feel. But I didn't misjudge this fellow's cultivation. It has a cultivation of around 15,000 years. Theoretically speaking, the Skydream Iceworm's attempt to defend himself seemed a little weak. The Ice Empress answered furiously, what theoretically? Do you think that the Star Doe forest won't flip if you kill it? The significance of the Emperor beasts are incalculable. Even 100,000-year soul beasts must give before it. Yuhao couldn't possibly absorb its soul ring, and even if he did, do you think he'd escape from the Star Doe forest alive? Huiyuhao was lost as he heard till here, Brother Skydream, Ice Empress, what do the both of you mean? What is this soul beast exactly? It's such a problem. A mere 15,000-year soul beast caused the 400-year soul beast to be petrified. Huiyuhao couldn't wrap his head around it. The Ice Empress said in a deep voice, it's called the Three-Eyed Golden Lion. Don't look down on its 15,000-year cultivation. It can fight with ordinary 100,000-year soul beasts. It holds 2 extreme elements, ultimate fire and ultimate light. I can't believe you've bumped into it. Huiyuhao was stunned as he heard the Ice Empress mention the words extreme elements. This Three-Eyed Golden Lion was no longer just a top-ranked soul beast in his mind. How terrifying was its lineage that it could fight 100,000-year soul beasts from the 15,000 years it was at. The Ice Empress continued, its greatest strengths lay in its innate abilities. The Three-Eyed Golden Lion is an ancient beast. During a time when soul beasts ruled the continent, long ago, such soul beasts would appear occasionally, and they would be crowned emperors. Which is why they are known as emperor beasts. There can't be two of such beasts alive at the same time. Which means that three-eyed golden lion you saw just now is the only emperor beast on the continent. Even the strongest soul beasts must bow down to it and cannot harm it. Soul beasts it chooses as prey can only flee, they can't resist. Hui Yuhao was curious as he asked, why? Even transcendent soul beasts like the two of you can't win against it. Don't you have the ultimate ice too? Your cultivation is superior to it, thus you shouldn't be afraid when you bump into it. The Ice Empress' emotions were a little unstable. I'm not afraid of it, but I must still pay it due respect should it appear in the extreme north. What exactly is an emperor beast? They beget prosperity. A habitat with an emperor beast boasts twice the normal soul beast's cultivation speed. Furthermore, after 100,000-year beasts reach a bottleneck, their chances of breaking through it will double in the presence of an emperor beast. I would not have become your soul ring had this happened to me. Hui Yuhao was in a daze as he asked, does this mean that soul beasts with 500 years cultivation can reach 1,000 years cultivation with it around? The Ice Empress snorted. That's right. Think about it. How would the soul beasts in the forest react if you dared to touch it? I think there are many savage soul beasts guarding the three-eyed golden lion. Isn't Skydream just courting death for all of us by targeting it? A pathetic scream rang out from afar, and Hui Yuhao's expression soured. He said softly, oh damn, a reverberating boom resonated from afar. The entire Star Do forest seemed to shake as roars and howls sounded repeatedly. The intense undulations of soul power turned into a terrifying might that caused Hui Yuhao to be glued to the ground. This was indeed what had happened. Elder Xian knew things had gone downhill when Hui Yuhao suddenly unleashed the Ice Empress aura. Hui Yuhao shouldn't have met an unresistible opponent. So why did he use 100,000-year soul beast's aura to scare off his opponents with his cultivation level? But then his aura disappeared. What could that mean? It meant that Hui Yuhao could have been killed by a powerful soul beast. Elder Xian had grown sensitive when all the Academy's official team members were almost killed. But he was even more anxious considering Hui Yuhao's importance to Shrek. When he tried to sense his surroundings, he discovered the three-eyed golden lion first. Elder Xian had previously instructed Hui Yuhao to use imitation to conceal himself, which let Elder Xian find him through his soul power undulations. But Hui Yuhao had ceased any circulation of soul power now, and hadn't been discovered by Elder Xian, which had led to the current misunderstanding. Before the three-eyed golden lion could chase down the twin cyclops, it managed to provoke the ire of Elder Xian. Hence all the screams and tremors Hui Yuhao now sensed. Emperor Beast three-eyed golden lion Elder Xian was a rank 98 transcendent Doluor, and was only a slight bit away from an ultimate Doluor. As Shrek Academy's second in charge, he was extremely frightening when he unleashed his powers. The twin Cyclops was instantly crushed into the ground. Even though it tried to retreat, it was still struck by the shockwave and was critically injured. It was not even a true 100,000-year soul beast. Even if it was, how could a 100,000-year soul beast resist Elder Xian? A screeching howl rang out in the next instant. A dark red figure blocked Elder Xian from unleashing his next attack on the three-eyed golden lion. Elder Xian descended amidst a reverberating boom. Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao were also beside him, which meant that he still had to worry about their safety. The figure that blocked Elder Xian was knocked 100 meters back by the godly Daotai Bull's strength, but it still remained in front of the three-eyed golden lion. 3 furious howls were released at the same time. It was a soul beast that was more than 5 meters in length, and was extremely burly. It seemed like a lion, but it had 3 identical heads that were over a meter in diameter. Its terrifying teeth released a scarlet gold glow. Its 3 heads roared furiously at the same time, and all the soul beasts within a 10-square-mile radius didn't dare to move. The huge noises that came from where they were also affected Mo Feiyan and the others in the distance. Hui Yuhao's sudden disappearance left them extremely displeased. However, a streak of yellow light suddenly flashed by. They didn't even see it clearly before Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao disappeared. At this point, Hui Yuhao's Ice Empress aura, and the series of furious roars and explosions caused this bunch of soul masters to turn pale. They wondered whether they were in the core region rather than the hybrid region. Mo Feiyan led everyone as they escaped. They couldn't be bothered to seek soul beasts anymore. Scarlet King. Elder Xian's expression turned serious as he looked at the soul beast that roared furiously. He stopped his attack too. You're that fellow from Shrek Academy. The 3-headed soul beast that had a lion's form spoke in the human tongue, but its voice was filled with rage. Elder Xian growled, "Scarlet King, I won't make it difficult for you on account of our Academy's agreement with the Star Do savage beasts. Give way and hand that golden-furred lion over to me." His fury had already reached its limit. How could he explain things to Elder Mu if Hu Yuhao was dead? Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao also turned pale, as they stood behind Elder Xian. This was especially so for Wang Dong, who felt that everything had turned black in front of him. Something seemed to have been crushed in his heart. The intense pain manifested as tears which trickled down his face. In just an instant, Yu Hao is all ready. The Scarlet King was infuriated. "Rascal, do you know who this is? If you dare to touch it, you'll become the common enemy of all the soul beasts in Star Do Forest." Elder Xian stared at the Scarlet King coldly. "I don't care who it is. I only know that it has killed and even eaten one of Shrek Academy's most important disciples. You should know that you're not my match, even though you're ranked 8th among the 10 great savage beasts. I won't mind if you want to die with it. I can't account to the Academy anyway. Why not just kill to my heart's content?" As he spoke, Elder Xian had already taken a step forward. His frightening aura resembled a mountain that was crashing towards the Scarlet King. At this point, a powerful and frightening aura was released not far from where they were. That brutal will came from the aura of another savage beast. Elder Xian and the Scarlet King were both stunned as they sensed this aura. The Scarlet King was perplexed. That aura came from a transcendent soul beast just like it, but why did the ice-cold aura seem so familiar? It seemed to have appeared once just now, but the aura disappeared before he could look for it. Elder Xian was delighted after he was in a daze for a moment. Hu Yuhao was imitating the aura of a 100,000-year soul beast. He wasn't dead. Hu Yuhao was obviously alive. He was slow to react, because he couldn't just interfere when two powerful figures were at odds with one another. He only imitated the Ice Empress aura under the Ice Empress advice, as he stood where he was being repressed to send the message that he was still alive. Elder Xian knew what was going on, but the Scarlet King didn't. However, it believed that it was a good thing for him and the three-eyed golden lion that a savage beast had rushed over. A soul beast with a cultivation over 100,000 years possessed an intelligence that was superior to ordinary humans. It wouldn't start conflicts easily too. Moreover, the Scarlet King knew that this savage beast that came would help it in protecting the Emperor Beast. It wasn't afraid of Elder Xian anymore with another savage beast around. It was confident of protecting the three-eyed golden lion even if it couldn't beat Elder Xian. A deep and low roar came from the Scarlet King's three heads. An intense dark red radiance also spewed out from its body, and its three heads seemed to balloon in size. A deathly sense enveloped Elder Xian, as the Scarlet King's roar called for all soul beasts to rush over to protect the Emperor Beast. Since he possessed enough strength to resist the enemy, why would a three-headed Scarlet King, who was also one of the 10 great savage beasts, and the king of the Kennedy type soul beasts compromise with a human? Elder Xian was relieved when he learned that Hu Yuhao was still alive. He immediately developed a plan in his mind and roared furiously too. He revealed his godly Daotai Bull, and the two of them clashed. A situation that left the Scarlet King extremely depressed occurred. The aura of the savage beast that had appeared earlier disappeared, and there was no more movement. It wanted to give in to Elder Xian now, but Elder Xian wouldn't entertain the notion. The Scarlet King could only try to protect itself as he faced Elder Xian. It was slowly losing ground as it protected itself. However, Elder Xian and the Scarlet King didn't go all out apart from Elder Xian's first, formidable blow. If they did so, it would be a catastrophe for the entire Star Do Forest. This was something that neither of them wanted to see. An intense yellow radiance appeared like a sticky fluid, and a cage formed by the powers of the earth rose up, trapping the Scarlet King. The Scarlet King's three heads roared, and its dark red fur surged with streaks of black patterns. It was like a volcano that had erupted, trying to break free from its restraints. At this point, the godly Daotai Bull's figure flashed and came in front of the three-eyed golden lion. A bright yellow radiance shot out from its horns and engulfed the three-eyed golden lion. The Scarlet King depleted his origin power to break free from the cage, but it didn't dare to attack any further. The three-eyed golden lion appeared very weary, as it was trapped in the yellow light. The Scarlet King knew that Elder Xian could take the three-eyed golden lion's life with his dominant, Earth-type power if he wanted to. The Scarlet King appeared very fearful, and he raged, "I dare you. If you kill the Emperor Beast, we'll destroy the humans." Elder Xian turned back to his human form and said, "Who says I'm going to kill it?" The Scarlet King became much more composed after Elder Xian said that he wouldn't kill the three-eyed golden lion. He was also highly intelligent, and he asked, "Then what are you going to do?" Elder Xian said, "Nothing. Find me a spiritual type, soul beast, that has a cultivation of around 15,000 years, and is of top quality to exchange for it." The Scarlet King and Elder Xian's confrontation was over, thus he didn't need to restrict his movement anymore. He snuck over since there was no longer any tension over here. In addition, the Sky Dream Iceworm also told him that the powerful savage beast had left Elder Xian. Hui Yuhao was delighted as he saw Elder Xian on the three-eyed golden lion. He even initiated his soul tool thruster to rush over. "Don't talk to me," Elder Xian snapped, "you almost scared me to death. What happened just now? Why did you disappear after unleashing your 100,000-year soul beast aura?" Hui Yuhao laughed bitterly as he recounted how he had to unleash the aura against the twin Cyclops to preserve his own life, as well as his encounter with the three-eyed golden lion. Elder Xian's expression turned weird after hearing his words. He took a look at the three-eyed golden lion that he sat on and patted its head. He said, "It's been tough for you." The three-eyed golden lion seemed to recover a little and looked at Elder Xian coldly. It started to speak in the human tongue, and it even sounded like a lady with a moving voice. "Despicable humans. If you dare to harm me, I'll make sure you regret it, and that misfortune will befall you." Elder Xian chuckled and slapped his palm on the three-eyed golden lion's head. This caused the lion to be pressed onto the ground. Elder Xian even exerted more force to make it kiss the soil, threatening me. "Don't think that I don't know about emperor beasts like you, even though it's my first time seeing one. You carry a special blood lineage from ancient times, and you can use this blood lineage's aura to influence the undulations of spiritual air in the heavens and earth. It's nonsense when they say that you beget prosperity. And you still dare to threaten me with misfortune. Do you believe that I can torture you till the brink of death? The soul beasts treat you as a treasure. If I kill you, they may really attack the humans out of rage. But don't think that you're noble. No matter how well those 100,000-year soul beasts treat you, you're only a treasure to them. You're not their emperor. Your title as an emperor beast only sounds nice. Regardless of whether you're human or a soul beast, it's best if you know your place. You're spouting nonsense." The three-eyed golden lion sounded more agitated. Elder Xian laughed coldly. "Spouting nonsense? I'm already being very kind here. How do you think they'll treat you if you're useless to them, or if they believe that your meat gives them immortality?" "Yuhao, come over." "Yes." Hui Yuhao rushed over. Elder Xian said, "Press your forehead against this three-eyed golden lion's third eye. Don't worry, I will stop it from resisting." "No. Don't you dare do it." The three-eyed golden lion was furious and roared furiously. It tried to struggle, which caused golden red blood to ooze from its mouth due to an internal injury it had sustained earlier. Hui Yuhao was stunned and said, "Elder Xian, this." Hui Yuhao felt that his mind had gone empty after trembling for a while. Even his spiritual sea seemed to disappear. The Sky Dream Iceworm, Ice Empress and Electrolux decided to shrink their powers at this moment and hide in one corner. Rings of weird, distorted light engulfed Hui Yuhao and the three-eyed golden lion's body. Their bodies seemed to become transparent as a subtle radiance flashed. Every time the radiance changed, Hui Yuhao and the three-eyed golden lion's bodies would tremble slightly. The immense life aura contained within his eye of life rapidly flowed out and entered the three-eyed golden lion's body. The injury that the three-eyed golden lion sustained earlier healed at an alarming speed. The entire Great Star Doe forest started to shake tremendously, with Hui Yuhao and the three-eyed golden lion at the center of this tremor. An intense life aura surged towards them and into their bodies. The distorted radiance became stronger and stronger, engulfing the both of them within. A special force prevented even Elder Xian from breaching this radiance. Elder Xian was a little discomforted as he witnessed this amazing change. He muttered to himself, "Did we escalate the situation? This three-eyed golden lion was still struggling earlier. Don't tell me this transfusion will take its life away. That'll be disastrous. Will the Star Doe's soul beasts go all out against Shrek? That will cause many deaths. Why is there such a huge reaction?" Wang Dong furrowed his brows, and golden light flashed in his eyes. He felt something weird as he looked at the distorted radiance. It was as if something that belonged to him had been taken away. But the feeling was very mild, and he couldn't sense it clearly. Hui Yuhao's consciousness was gradually restored, while his spiritual see became active again. He was stunned to realize that there was something more in his spiritual see. The size of his spiritual see had even seemed to double. A subtle aura appeared to be within his spiritual see too. His eye of life had also transformed. The eye of life usually emitted green light. To him, it was only a place that Electrolux temporarily stayed in. It also helped him preserve a shred of spiritual power. The Life Guardian blade was also there, and it could be used by him at any time. But it was different now. Hui Yuhao could clearly feel that he really owned a third eye now. His eye of life had turned bright gold under his control. The Life Guardian blade had also been extracted and landed on the ground. The Life's gold life aura was still on the Life Guardian blade. Electrolux's awareness had also returned into his own spiritual see. This also meant that the eye of life had become his third eye, and was now fully under his control. He could also clearly feel that there was another magical force within his third eye. He couldn't tell what this force was, but he could sense that it was a force that was beyond what he was capable of. Even the Ice Empress and Sky Dream Iceworm didn't dare to resist this force. The three-eyed golden lion shook its body hazily and stumbled backwards. Its three golden eyes suddenly became black for a tiny moment before they recovered their golden hues. However, Elder Xian, Wang Dong, and Xiao Xiao witnessed the entire process. The three-eyed golden lion seemed a little weak, and it stopped struggling. It was just watching Hui Yuhao with lackadaisical eyes as Elder Xian placed him on the ground. Hui Yuhao's expression also looked dazed. Hui Yuhao seemed to feel something. He gazed at the three-eyed golden lion, and human and beast stared into each other's eyes. They both felt a faint tremble in their minds, and their third eye numbed momentarily as they felt a peculiar sensation. Hui Yuhao felt as if his spirit was surging through the ages, and his consciousness appeared within a dense forest. Everything around him suddenly became golden, and the brilliant hues painted the vegetation, all around him the same color. These plants were growing with bedazzling speed, and a multicolored egg with a golden luster at its base appeared on the ground. Crisp cracking sounds could be heard as a single gash appeared on the golden egg's surface. The crack extended swiftly, and a tiny claw reached out from within the shell with a crackling sound before a tiny head emerged. Its golden fur was a little moist, and it looked like a little puppy. It effortfully broke out from the eggshell before it turned around and gobbled it down with a few bites. A series of crackling sounds rang out as this tiny dog-like beast started flickering with golden radiance. Everybody was in the Great Star Doe Forest's outer regions when they landed back on the ground. He chose the northern border as this location was closest to Shrek City. It would be convenient for Elder Xian to retreat with everyone if there was a disturbance with the fearsome beasts inside the Great Star Doe Forest. "Are you all right, Yuhao?" Wang Dong whispered in Hui Yuhao's ear. Elder Xian was also watching him with a concerned look on his face. Even the ancient archives didn't detail the effects of transfusing an emperor beast's element to refine one's body. Hui Yuhao tossed his head from side to side. The intense rush of memory shocked his spirit, and he was still a little dazed. "I'm fine. My spiritual power is much stronger now, and I think I took part of its memory." "Oh? What kind of memories?" Wang Dong asked in bewilderment. Hui Yuhao forced a laugh and said, "It's a soul beast that has been alive for more than 10,000 years. Even though its life inside the Great Star Doe Forest is relatively simple, its memories are immense, and how can I differentiate anything with clarity in one moment?" Elder Xian tilted his head and said, "It's fine as long as your spiritual power has been boosted. It seems like the archives are accurate, so it's all good as long as there are no side effects. I think this is yours, here you go." Elder Xian lobbed the Life Guardian blade at Hui Yuhao. Hui Yuhao suddenly remembered that his ranked carving knife had been squeezed out of his eye of life. No, his third eye could not be described as an eye of life anymore. He grabbed the Life Guardian blade. Hui Yuhao immediately sensed that he was still mentally connected to this ranked carving knife, and the vast life energy contained within it was also greater than before. "I want to meditate for a while, Elder Xian," Hui Yuhao remarked before he sat down and crossed his legs. The mysterious heaven technique was channeled naturally, and his spirit quickly concentrated within his own spiritual sea. The three-eyed golden lion's eyes had more vitality at this point. It didn't try to struggle as it watched Hui Yuhao with a blank look, and there were complicated and indescribable emotions in its eyes. It felt as if that momentary touching of heads had taken all of its intimidating ferocity. Elder Xian glanced at the lion and said, "It seems like the elemental transfusion didn't hurt you much. You have also benefited from Huiyuhao, and your wounds are healed. Don't worry, I'm a man of my word. I'll let you go when they arrive." The three-eyed golden lion shot a cold look at Elder Xian, but said nothing. It turned towards Huiyuhao with another deep gaze, before it closed all three of its eyes and laid prostrate on the ground, as if it were sleeping. Huiyuhao's mind was filled with remnants of memories, but what about the beast? The beast's mind was filled with Huiyuhao's complete memories. Huiyuhao's life and experiences covered a period of less than 13 years, but he had experienced many trials and tribulations. His childhood life was rough, his life after leaving the White Tiger Duke's mansion was exciting, and all the wonders and awe's of the human world deeply stimulated this emperor beast. "Are you all right, Elder Yi?" Huiyuhao asked Electrolux first, when he entered his meditative state. Even though Electrolux didn't interact with him much, his influence was comparable to both Skydream and the Ice Empress, especially when he saved Huiyuhao's life from the envoy of the Death God. "I'm fine. Such mighty power of destiny. However, I have already transcended beyond destiny, and it isn't so easy to destroy my destiny. The life gold has nurtured me over time, and my shattered divine sense has stabilized. I have regained a few memories as well, and this is happening while I hibernate inside your spiritual sea. Your cultivation is still low, but I will impart my abilities to you when your fundamentals are solid enough." Huiyuhao heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that Electrolux was all right. He asked doubtfully, "What is this power of destiny about, Elder Yi? Why would the three-eyed golden lion transfer the power of destiny to me?" Huiyuhao said, "Elder Yi, this is too complicated. Actually, all I want to know is what happened to my third eye after it touched the three-eyed golden lion's third eye. I can feel that I'm able to control it now, as if I have an actual third eye. Furthermore, my third eye seems to embody a special power, and I cannot feel this power's element. I have never even seen it before." Electrolux smiled and said, "Had you asked the little worm or the small scorpion, they probably wouldn't know the answer to this. But if you're asking me, you've come to the right person. The power of destiny chased me out from the eye of life, and it would seem it's the power of destiny that has taken over your eye. It has amplified and refined your spirit sea, saving you at least 5 years of cultivating spiritual power. You will continue to feel its positive effects as time goes by. Initially it was my own powers supporting your second mental sea. You would have only been able to channel the power within it upon reaching a certain level of spiritual power. However, after this round of refinement, you now can use your second mental sea. From now on, your third eye shall be called the Eye of Destiny. It gives you power over destiny." Huiyuhao reacted in shock. "Power over destiny? What's that supposed to mean?" Electrolux answered, "The Eye of Destiny bestows you with the ability to change someone's destiny for the better within a fixed amount of time. It might sound a little abstract, but it's actually quite simple. Anybody that your Eye of Destiny gazes upon will have their fortunes changed if you will it, for better or for worse. But, using the Eye of Destiny will consume a large amount of soul power. It will awaken in 3 days, you'll have a better understanding of it then." Huiyuhao understood a little more after listening to Electrolux's explanation. "Thank you, Elder Yi. Thankfully you're here to explain things. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a clue of what was happening. The power of destiny sounds pretty impressive." Electrolux lowered his voice and said, "Don't speak too soon, Yuhao. While it's true that you've received a unique and unmatched ability, this power of destiny has also linked your destiny with that of the three-eyed golden lions. You obtained a portion of its memories, while it received all of yours, which includes the information about us. Your fate is now irrevocably entwined with the beast, whether it be as friend or foe. Either way, you should work hard and focus on your cultivation, it's vital to you now." His destiny would be entwined with the three-eyed golden lions. Huiyuhao wasn't too worried about this. He could acutely feel that the three-eyed golden lion no longer felt hostile towards him after their strange interaction. In fact, he could feel some kind of faint connection with it now. As for his fate going forwards, who knows? Elder Xian arrived beside the three-eyed golden lion in a flash, then released a dense yellow radiance to cover everyone present, the three-eyed golden lion included. His expression grew dark and solemn. The arriving presence had a higher cultivation than his own, which made his skin crawl. A wine-red glow shone brilliantly, and the three-headed scarlet devil mastiff appeared before everybody once more. Huiyuhao swiftly awakened from his meditation and positioned himself behind Elder Xian, raising his guard as he did so. The Scarlet King was no longer infuriated like he'd been before. His eyes seemed extremely calm, and it carried itself with utmost confidence. Its leftmost head held a dark purple soul beast between its teeth. The Scarlet King muttered coldly, "Release the Emperor Beast and take this soul beast with you." It tossed the soul beast in its mouth to the ground as it spoke. Turning to Hui Yuhao, it said, "Your disciple wasn't murdered by the Emperor Beast, it seems." Elder Xian answered plainly, "He wasn't indeed, however it was close. It was his agility and quick thinking that allowed him to evade its attacks. He would have perished otherwise. I'll let this go, but only once. However, the one that doesn't want to show himself, why don't you try and come out? Come, show me what you've got. Human, if you want to die, I'll grant this wish of yours." Part 1 end here.